don't know how long, you know. I probably wasn't even born or anything.
Co-number 1 Tennessee clashes with undefeated Arkansas. Can the Vols barbecue some hog in the SEC? UCLA's cardiac kids are living on the edge. Can Washington spoil the Bruins' fiesta-filled dreams? Battle for the Big Ten in the Big House. Will undefeated Wisconsin be fitted for rose-colored glasses against rejuvenated Michigan? College Game Day takes Manhattan next. There is tremendous excitement, a very warm, freakishly warm November day in the hill country of Kansas, and down here in KSU Stadium, they are bracing for something very special. Most of these folks were not even born the last time Kansas State beat Nebraska. We are delighted to have College Game Day come to you from Kansas State's campus. Chris Fowler, along with Lee Corso.
Yep.
And Kirk Herbstreit.
Yes, sir.
A role reversal. The villain of America is cheered here. The golden boy is booed. Wow. Next hour and 2 minutes, we'll focus on the 4 games that are really going to shape today. You've got the last battle of unbeaten this regular season, Arkansas and Tennessee. You've got UCLA and Wisconsin going for the Rose Bowl. And, oh, by the way, you've got the game that the folks around here are calling Judgment Day for the children of the corn. You know the backdrop here. Nebraska's beaten Kansas State 29 straight times. Last 5, Kansas State's arrived unbeaten, and they left embarrassed. They haven't even had a lead against Nebraska since 1991. But there is tremendous confidence here, at least outwardly, that that is about to change. The Bill Snyder's amazing reclamation project is about to take a giant step. If not now, when? K-State's #1. They have 24 seniors. They are here at home. Nebraska's as shaky as they've been in years. But Frank Solich has warned. Nebraska will never pass the torch. The torch has to be taken forcibly, and Steve Cyphers, the Cats believe they're equipped to do that.
You're right, Chris. This is the chance for Kansas State to grab that Big 12 King of the Hill status. But talk to the Huskers, and they'll tell you, to borrow from our esteemed colleague, not so fast, my friend.
I think they want to beat us so bad they can taste it, and I think if they beat us, they kind of think that we pass the stick to them, and they're the program that people want to be like.
And you're not ready to give it up?
Oh, no way. No way at all.
For 10 years, I've tried to avoid ever putting ourselves in a position where mentally we felt that this was a make-or-break ball game.
We can spoil their season.
You like the role of spoiler?
I like the makeup of our football team. I like their character. I like the way we go about things. And so, in that regard, I feel we'll play an excellent football game.
But you're not going to say the word that I just said?
No.
Okay, all right.
You know, they still have weapons, but I don't think it's as dangerous as it was in the past.
Our perception of K-State is just, you know, it seems like we always got their go. I mean, they can't beat us.
You know, they beat us year after year after year, and they still hold that. And until proven otherwise, we have to beat them.
They know in the back of their minds this is the one team that's been causing trouble for them.
What we do on Saturday is gonna be what matters. It's not gonna be what happened in the past.
On the injury front, Travis Oaks, the senior outside backer for Kansas State, who hasn't played much the last couple of weeks, will play today. For Nebraska, same old story. Quarterback Bobby Newcomb didn't make the trip. Running back D'Angelo Evans didn't make the trip. Chris?
Yeah, that's going to put some pressure on some guys without much experience, Steve. Eric Crouch makes his 3rd career start at quarterback. Dan Alexander is the I-back. He's also pretty inexperienced. And if you want to pinpoint one reason for Nebraska's struggles this year, you have to look at the lack of big play production from that running game. You talk about runs of 25 yards or longer, only 12 through the first 10 games of this season. Compare that to the 3 national championship years. It's about half. The passing game production, that center column, is about the same, but it's that left column that causes the trouble. And Frank Solich knew from the beginning of the season, if they didn't get big plays on the ground, they were going to struggle. That's been a major factor. Can Kansas State exploit that?
Well, as good as Kansas State has looked this year, they still come into this football game because they haven't beaten Nebraska in so long, thinking they can win this football game, but wondering if they can. That's why I think the first quarter is crucial. Keep an eye on Nebraska. If they're able to come out of the gate, play well early, then I think they can get into the heads of Kansas State and have a chance to win. On the other hand, if Kansas State comes out, starts very, very well, they will begin to believe they can beat Nebraska, and then the game could get ugly. So keep an eye on the first quarter.
You know how to turn the crowd around. Good job. Now you know how I feel all these places. All right, one stat about Arkansas that really, about Kansas State that really has impressed me is this. Before Bill Snyder got here to Kansas State, they won 66 games in 20 years. Bill Snyder at Kansas State has won 66 games in the last 8 years. That's amazing. Now, one of the reasons why he's having that kind of success is that he came from Iowa and Hayden Fry. Where Hayden Fry took over Iowa, they had 18 straight losing seasons. He turned that program around. That's why Bill learned the system and is disciplined enough to do it. Also, he has a president and an athletic director that have given them the facilities and allow them to be themselves. That's why they're winning here.
When word leaked out they're going to hire a center, the president was actually attacked in his office by a deranged alum. He didn't like the selection. Nobody's unhappy about it now. They are delighted with Bill Snyder. Now, the first ever mid-November SEC matchup of unbeatens back since 1971 in the Iron Bowl. In Knoxville, the Hogs come calling, and what both sides hope will be a preview of the SEC championship game. Now, lately, Tennessee's taken the entire Western Division behind the woodshed, 12 straight wins. But Arkansas has been proving skeptics wrong all season. They say the 107,000 souls in Knoxville won't disturb them a bit. They haven't had a single delay of game penalty all year long. Now Tony Barnhart is in a stadium that's almost double the size of the town of Manhattan. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chris, and welcome to Knoxville, where it is cool and damp. You know, earlier this season, some fans wondered if T. Martin could lead Tennessee to an SEC championship. But after completing 75% of his passes over his last 4 games, there's no longer any doubt. At Tennessee, T. Martin is now the man.
We're seeing a guy that's getting to play. He has just rapidly gotten better and better and better. Statistically, probably improved more than any quarterback we've had here. But he's a great listener. He's a guy that's trying to do it the right way, giving us more balance, us being able to throw the football at mid-season on. It couldn't have come at a better time.
As the season went on, I got better as far as game planning and knowing what the coaches wanted, you know, for myself and from the offense, and got more comfortable with game experience. And now my total game is finally getting back, and I know how to be a team player using my talents.
You can expect T. Martin to play well today in a big game and continue to build. I think if you look at Tennessee, they've been in big games before. They're used to the spotlight. This is nothing new to them. I think the thing they have to guard against, they're #1 in the country. They control their own destiny to get to the Fiesta Bowl. The Tennessee coaches must continue to take chances, continue to turn their players loose. This is not the time to get conservative. They have to be careful of not being their own worst enemy, in my mind.
Kirk, I think Arkansas has a definite shot at the #1 team in the nation in Tennessee. The reason why, they're tough, they're hard-nosed, they're well-disciplined, they're a well-coached football team, and they're charmed. They're getting a lot of great breaks. They remind me a lot of the Northwestern Rose Bowl team of 1995. This will not be an easy test for Tennessee's #1 ranking.
The Vols guys have to handle that BCS #1 ranking better than the first 2 teams. UCLA shaky in 1. Of course, Ohio State lost to a 4-touchdown underdog. This week, BCS stands for Better Congratulate the Spartans. They are here in Manhattan. Tennessee has a piece of the #1 ranking for the first time since 42 years ago yesterday. K-State has a piece the first time any team in any sports had #1 ranking since 1959. But as of the moment, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl would be Tennessee and UCLA. That's not popular here because BCS also stands for Better Check the Schedule. The only factor pulling the Bruins over K-State when the computer spits out its standings is UCLA's strength of schedule, as rated by the Silicon Brain. The lower the number, the better here, and the key column is the one on the right. That big Kansas State number is outweighing the polls and everything else. Meanwhile, the polls are favoring Tennessee, so finally, Tony, Tennessee knows that if they can win out, they should have no trouble getting to the Fiesta Bowl. The BCS numbers will hold up for them.
You know, Chris, you're right, and Tennessee fans are nervous about being #1 for what you just absolutely said. But let me tell you what's making them really nervous. It's not about losing to Arkansas today. It's not even about losing in the SEC championship game. It's about going 12-0, making it to the Fiesta Bowl, and then having to play, you got it, the Florida Gators in a rematch. Coach, I know it sounds crazy, but if Florida beats Florida State next week, it could happen.
Tony, it's a good thing you're not here. They'd be throwing things at you. What I've learned in the first 3 weeks of the Bowl Championship Series is simple. Like life, things are never really as good as they seem, but they're never really as bad either. They kind of balance out. Fact is, because of this situation, 1, 2, and 3 have been different in the Bowl Championship Series in the first 3 weeks. Nobody knows what's going on. And D-Day now becomes December the 5th. because Kansas State, Tennessee, and UCLA all play great football teams, and no one knows what that computer is going to do after that. Is this exciting or what, my friend?
Hey, Coach, it's gonna